Hey guys, my name is Mark. I want to thank Stacy for inviting me to share this video, and everybody at Single Parent Advocate. You know, what a great organization, Stacy. We so appreciate what you and your board and everybody has done, and you've touched so many lives. What an awesome story you have, and what an awesome group that you have there. You know, the mission says that they're empowering and equipping the single parent families to live successful and productive lives. So today, let's just talk a little bit about, you know, what is success and what is productive. I mean, the worldly definition of success is accomplishing an aim or purpose. So the first question I have for all you dads out there, happy Father's Day, by the way, is what are you aiming at and what is your purpose? Man, is that a big word? Purpose. Wow, I hear that a lot. The worldly definition more so would be having achieved popularity, profit, or distinction. And that's what a lot of people think that success is. You know, when they've made it financially or when they're popular. As most of us in high school, that's what we wanted, right? So what is a productive life? Well, you know, it's achieving or producing, but a significant amount or a result, producing a large amount of commodity. So, you know, the next question I'd have for you is what are you producing? What's your commodity and what's your producing? So as we move on, you know, what tools and things do you need to be successful and productive in life? We're going to try to kind of walk through some of this stuff. And I thought, you know, what a great person to discuss is Batman. Everybody loves Batman. So we're going to kind of walk through some of the things that can help you become more successful, more productive, utilizing Batman's tool belt. So specifically, how can you be a better father, you know, a better husband, a better dad, brother, etc. So Batman, you know, I wanted to take the first three letters, B-A-T. The B, I'm going to say, represents brain or your mind. The A is your attitude and your action, and T is your tongue or how you speak. So starting off with the brain, you know, it says that the brain, there's 100 billion nerves that make up the brain. And the brain can store, for you computer guys out there, can store up to 2.5 million gigabytes. So the big question is, what do you have stored in your brain? What's up there? I mean, you know, when you sit there and think, the other day I was in the car and we were driving around and we put it on a 70s station, that'll kind of show my age. And a song came on and I started singing the words. And I'm like, how do I know those words when I hadn't heard that in years? So it's kind of like we have so much stuff stored in our brain. Where did it come from? Why do we have it? When do we use it? So, you know, who helped us shape the way that we think? Who's helped us shape the way that we process things or situations? We look back at situations that we were in as a child, or we saw our parents or those around us in a situation, and how they handle it might have shaped the way we think and do stuff. So the big question would be, how can you change the way you handle a situation? How can you change your mind? As we know as guys, we struggle a lot in mind, and I'll just call it the physical situation. We might have seen something in a movie, a scene that we may or may not have seen. That gets registered in our mind, and then that comes up and plays over and over in our mind. So we're going to talk a little bit later on how do you deal with those thoughts? How do you overcome those thoughts? You know, what does it say? We don't battle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So that's going to be the B. So now let's move on to the A. The A that I put down is your attitude or your action, and it's a settled way of thinking or feeling about someone or something. So you can have positive and you can have negative attitude, but it's a personal choice. But what we'll find out is some of that choice has been branded by you by the way you've seen other people handle situations. So, you know, who's impacted you on how your attitude was formed? Was it your mother, your father, other siblings? And you know, the big question now is, who are you impacting? Whose attitude are you forming? So your attitude, you know, is basically forming your character. So as we raise children these days, the way we handle situation, our attitude, the way our actions are when we see something, whatever, is forming the character and the attitude of those around us, specifically our children. So now, you know, we're going to kind of transition. I'm going a little fast here, but we'll kind of clean it up at the end. But children typically imitate what they see and they repeat what they hear. So that's why the T is tongue, what they speak. So the tongue, it speaks words, and it comes from your mouth. There's 4 different tastes. And what's interesting is most of them are bad. You have sweet, sour, bitter, and salty. So only one of them what I consider good, because I love sweets. So, you know, what comes out of your mouth? We know what goes in and we know how you taste it. So Jimmy Evans, who handles marriage today, he talks about one of the number one things a guy needs is honor and respect. So most of that comes verbally by people speaking into you and speaking encouragement. So as you've grown up in life, who has spoken into your life? And more the question is, whose life are you speaking into today? So are you speaking life or are you speaking destruction? There's a psychologist that said positive words like peace, love can alter the expression of the genes and strengthens areas of our brain. So basically what they're saying is people that have been spoken positive words into, that have been encouraged and stuff like that, it stimulates the brain. So hopefully we're doing that with our kids. So now let me tell you a little bit about my story and the transition. So, I pretty much tried to do it my way. I kind of screwed that up. I went through a divorce in 2008 and 2009, and I kind of had to get right with God. And I said, I was wearing my own cape and my own belt because I thought I was a superhero and I could do everything. And then I realized, I can't. So when I went through that divorce, that's when I said, I had to kind of throw away the old belt and pick up a new belt. In Ephesians 6:10, it talks about the whole armor of God, and one of those things is the belt of truth. Boy, I had to get truth with myself. Who was I, and who did I want to become, and who had spoken into my life, and who am I speaking into other lives? So what I did was really kind of went to God. I got down on my knees and I said, I've tried it my way. Let's try it your way. Give me your belt of truth. Give me your cape. Give me your tools. Give me your strength. And let's do it your way. So I started building my tool belt back up. I got into a Bible-based church. I got some men around me. I started talking to God. You can call it prayer if you want, but you had to have a personal relationship with Him. So I really started doing that. But probably the biggest thing is it talks about the sword of the Spirit. The sword of the Spirit is the Bible. And what I've learned is not just how to read the Bible, but how to apply it, how it's impacted me. And all these things we've talked about before, the brain, the attitude, and tongue, are all addressed in the Bible. You can Google those things and you can find numerous verses on how to do that. And I want to just touch on a couple of those, and let's read through those. But so the brain and the mind, it says in Romans 12:2, changing the way you think changes your perspective. So earlier we talked about the brain and how you think. Here in the Bible it's saying changing the way you think changes your perspective, which changes how you act, which is your attitude. So change your mind is a central theme of Jesus. It also says, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds. So who better to guard your mind than the creator of the universe? What you choose to see determines your reality. You have the power to change your mind, and changing your mind changes the shifting and the focus of who you are and who you want to become. It says in Proverbs is a great book. There's 31 chapters of Proverbs, so it's really easy. I tell guys all the time, read a Proverbs a day. So on this month, on the 5th day, you read the 5th chapter. But it says, as someone thinks within himself, so he is. So a lot of times, you'll tell guys, whatever you think you are is really what you are, but that might not be how God sees you. He sees you as somebody totally different. Let's talk about what the Bible says about attitude. It says, no matter what is unexpected or what unexpected disruption, frustration, or difficulties come my way, I try to respond with a Christ-like attitude. So how are you responding to those situations? This is in Philippians 2 verses 2 through 5. It kind of talks about that. For me, my attitude should do what? It should reflect Christ. And I try to demonstrate humility and selfishness in everything in all my relationships. Basically, the attitude of a Christian or the attitude of a father should reflect that one that focuses on the needs and interests of others, like our children. Finally, let's wrap it up with the tongue. In James chapter 3 talks about a lot of different things when we put into our mouths. It talks about, it equates our tongue to like this, the rudder of a ship, that this little rudder can turn this huge ship. That tells you the power of the tongue. It also talks about a little fire that can start a huge forest fire. All with something that's said from our mouth can create all these issues. The words of a reckless pierce sword, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. Truthful lips endure forever, but a lying tongue lasts for a moment. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. The tongue of the wise adorns knowledge, but the mouth of the fool gushes folly. The tongue is a soothing tree of life, but a perverse tongue crushes the spirit. Are we soothing or are we crushing? So the moral of my story, guys, is the belt that I wear now is God's belt. The tools that I use are the tools that He provides and He gives us. So my question to you is, what tools are you using? Let's be a superhero to our family. God bless you and happy Father's Day.